What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Breneman Show. I'm your host, Adam Breneman, and it's official. College football is here. Had an interesting week zero. Nebraska, a lot of controversy after a tough loss against Northwestern, the onside kick. A lot to talk about, but this episode isn't about breaking anything down. We're talking about Auburn football and interviewing TJ Finley, Auburn's new starting quarterback. This is the first interview TJ's done since being named the starting quarterback literally 24 hours ago. So I'm going to dive into everything with TJ, the life off the field, how he found out he was named the starter, expectations for the season, doubt from the outside fans and media. We're going to dive into a lot. If you're a football fan, an SEC fan, especially an Auburn fan, you're going to want to listen to this. We're going to dive into everything TJ Finley. And now, before we get to the interview, I want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. It is my favorite and easiest way to play fantasy football this season. You draft your team on Underdog, join their Best Ball Mania contest. You pick your team, you don't touch the lineup the rest of the year. It's easy. And there's $10 million in prize money. Winner gets a couple $1 million. I mean, I met a guy in New York City who had won the Best Ball Mania contest at Underdog Fantasy. He won $1 million last year. So Best Ball Mania closes next week. So there's 2 weeks left to draft. Make sure you get in. Use my code Adam B. That's Adam B. Download the Underdog Fantasy app. Code Adam B doubles your first time deposit. So that's 4 entries up to $100. That's 4 entries into Best Ball Mania, and they also have Pick'em, where they had a special line this past week for Kenny Pickett, over under 0.5 total yards for the preseason game, which he absolutely crushed, obviously. So it's my favorite app. Do me a favor, support this show, support Underdog Fantasy. Download their app. Use my code Adam B to get a first-time deposit match. Also, make sure to please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, comment, share with anyone, share on Twitter, follow me on all these platforms. Need your guys' support to continue growing this thing. It's because of your support that we can make these interviews. To be the first show that gets an interview with TJ Finley since being named the starter at Auburn is huge because of all your guys' support. So let's keep it rolling. Make sure to subscribe. Now let's get right into it. Here's my interview and conversation with Auburn's new starting quarterback, TJ Finley.
The number one, tight end in the country.
Adam Breneman, tight end, Cedar Cliff.
And then popped up.
Touchdown! Adam Breneman, a 14-yard strike.
We got my man TJ Finley, newly named starting quarterback at Auburn with me, and I'm fired up to talk to him, man. What's up, TJ?
Not much. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, I appreciate. I think we followed each other on Instagram recently, and I think within the first 30 seconds, I DM'd you and I said I got to get you on the podcast, man. So I appreciate you getting back to me right away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor to be in a position I'm in. So I want to give back as much as I can, and if jumping on a podcast is a part of that, then I'm all about it.
I appreciate it, man. Well, you got some exciting news recently, and you caught Twitter by storm the other day. I think it was yesterday. Today's Monday. We're recording this on, and you named the starting quarterback at Auburn, man. How'd you find out the news? Did you know for a while, or was it kind of a recent thing?
It was kind of a recent thing. I kind of felt the way that practices were going, that I was winning the quarterback battle, just by my quarterback play and how I was operating, how I was doing things in the offense, and just maintaining and doing things that I know I could do to help this team win. Simply by doing that, I just felt a transition later in camp that was favoring me. So I just took that and ran with it and continued to do what I can to help this team get to where we are now.
I love it, man. I feel like every quarterback competition, there always feels like there's like one moment where like the momentum shifts at some point. I think back to Christian Hackenberg when I played and when he was in a battle, and I remember it was a 2-minute drive, and like, during practice, you feel like there was a moment where you had a big drive or a big practice where you felt like, man, like this is going to be your team.
For me, I would just say like just a consistency piece on my end. In my opinion, each day I got better and better and better. And there was never, there was rarely, if ever, a day where I slacked up and took a day off or things like that. So the team kind of saw that and followed my footsteps. So a lot of guys that were out there, really gave their best effort day in and day out and never took a day off. So me just leading by example and doing things like that, I think kind of separated, towards the latter end of camp. People made the decisions to, put me as a starter, and, I'm just ready to get it rock and roll.
I'm fired up to watch it, man. It feels like a little bit, and I'm sure you felt this too, but that kind of like the outside world didn't give you much of a chance in this quarterback competition. When you go back a few months ago, man, all the media and the talking heads. I mean, you guys brought in a ton of transfer quarterbacks. Did you feel that perspective at all? Did you feel like the Auburn fans and the public weren't really giving you a chance?
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of hurt. But there's no better feeling than proving the world wrong. And the fact that, a lot of guys were putting, other guys in front of me, just by simply them having a name or them coming from another school. It was kind of, I took it as disrespect. So, but I didn't say anything about it. I just put my head down and went to work, and the results showed that, itself. We are where we are now. And, it's just, people can say what, people don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So, they can say whatever they want to say, but they're not in the building working out and doing extra work and things like that to be able to give an opinion about who should be the starting quarterback. So I don't really feed into the social media world. It's just another aspect of the game that you got to tune out. So, but yeah, I did take it as disrespectful. And in terms of that, I took that fire and turned it into something totally different.
I love it. I love it, man. How'd the team find out? Did Coach Harsin tell the team, and what was everyone's reaction? Were they happy for you?
Yeah, I think if any three of us, any four of us really would hold it in the conversation. I think any four of us, if any four of us would have been named the starter, the whole team would have had the same, reaction. We all, support each other, and we all, believe in the coaches that they're going to put the best one out there to help us win some ball games. But the coaches announced it yesterday in the team meeting. Unfortunately, it had already leaked to ESPN, so most of the team had already seen it. But
it always happens, bro.
absolutely, yeah. But yeah, it was announced yesterday in the team meeting.
Awesome. What's the offseason been like at Auburn with Coach Harsin? Again, we were talking about the media, but there's always, in the college football world, especially in the SEC, there's been drama around the program a little bit. Obviously, more outside than actually what's going on inside the program. But what's it been like navigating that throughout this offseason?
Yeah, I think the leaders of this team, Derek Hall, John Samuel Shanker, and Owen Pappo, kind of stepped up in the offseason and really showed us the rope as to how to go to work and not feed into the outside world and not feed into the social media, because we honestly didn't even know who was going to be our head coach. We didn't know if they were going to fire Coach Harsin and get a new head coach, or we just didn't know. It's so it's so many uncertainties when it comes to college football. But as players, we chose to stick together and ride this thing out and not feed into the BS that was going on outside of the complex. So, those guys stepped up tremendously, and myself, stepped up tremendously in different aspects, and just led this team, and we went to work. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised this season simply by the fact of how much work we put in the offseason, and how much of that is going to show this season.
Well, I'm excited to see the offense, man. You have a new offensive coordinator and a lot of talent. You got a great tight end in your system. I love the tight ends, man. So what has the offense changed at all with the new OC, or and what can we kind of expect this year?
Yeah, it's a little different, but mostly similar. Especially the terminology that we're using, it's all similar to the system we ran last year. But I don't want to give it away, but we're going to get a lot of guys all in open space. Our biggest thing is, for one, is to have a physical downhill run game, and then for number two, to have an explosive passing attack. So you're going to see a lot of guys catching plenty passes, different receivers in the game, different personnels and things like that. So a lot of guys are going to get their opportunity to get some touches within the game and ultimately without the whole season. So I just can't wait for, Saturday so we can display a little part of that.
Man, I know one thing. You're definitely been watching a lot of film with blue turf on it, right? You've been watching a lot of Boise State film. I know you're sick of seeing that blue turf, right?
And I get tired of it.
No, I know how it is, man. That Boise State offense. But what are some of your personal goals for this year? Like, what are you got any big time goals hanging on your wall at home or anything?
Not really. This year for me is more about the team than myself. The only goal that I have set on my wall right now is 70% completion. I want to end the season at a 70% completion rate, which I believe I can do. Just specifically off the work I've put in this offseason, the numbers I put up in fall camp against our defense. I think, 69, 70 is around a comfortable range for myself. But I told myself I was going to set my goals after week one, after I see how, because I haven't been in a game-like situation with Coach Keesaw yet, and his style of calling plays and things like that. So, depending on how the flow of the game goes, I'll be able to judge my personal goals off of that. But I'm really not too much locked into my personal goals. I'm really we have team goals that we need to accomplish, and if those don't get accomplished, then I know my personal goals won't get accomplished. So as long as I accomplish our team goals that we've set as a team, I'll be perfectly fine. About where I'm at.
You just mentioned some team goals. Do you feel like, as a starting quarterback, and again, it's been the trend is like, talking about the outside noise and what's going on. Do you feel the pressure of a lot of people saying this is like a make or break year for Coach Harsin? Do you feel that at all, or is it kind of, internally you guys don't think about it?
Internally we don't think about it. When I think about pressure, pressure is a big word to use.
Yeah.
Pressure is a single mom with no household trying to find her next meal for her 4 kids. Like, that's pressure.
Yeah.
I think we've been given an opportunity to do something we love and to do something that we're ultimately good at, because if we weren't good at it, we wouldn't have the job, referring to Coach Harsin. I think we've all been given an opportunity to do what we love and to do what we're actually good at. So I wouldn't in turn use the word pressure, but there is a level of expectation that is set around the building that this is the year that we can win some ball games, and we're going to do that for sure.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited. What's Tank Bigsby been like? What's his development been like? And what are you expecting from him this year?
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot from him this year, and I see a lot of myself in him, and he can say the same thing as far as the maturity from last year to this year. When I got here last year, we were both like, just taking everything for granted and just not really locked in like we are this year. And I can definitely see a change in him, mentally more than physically, just, about his approach to the game and to practice each and every day. He brings that juice to every practice, but not only does he bring the juice, but he's mentally just locked into every aspect of the game, and it's gonna be a sight to see, come Saturday.
And you got to tell me about the tight end, man. Tell me about John Samuel Shanker. What's his development been like? I mean, he had a massive season in 2021. Is he the next great tight end from the SEC?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that he will break, most of the records in the record book this year, in that category. But not only is he a great player, he's a great person. He's older, been here for 100 years, but but he's my guy, and he's done an amazing job of rallying the team together, and that's why he's a team captain. Like, ultimately, it comes down to getting the job done and taking care of your family, taking care of your troops, and he does an amazing job at that. He leads by example at all times, and the football aspect of it, that's going to take care of itself. But just to be able to be in a building with a guy like that, you're not always given that opportunity to learn from guys like that. So I'm just thankful that he's willing to share, his wisdom with me and allow me to, lead this team. I saw an interview he did yesterday, and he spoke very highly of me. So I appreciate things like that. But, he's just a very good person outside of football. And like I said, the football stuff for him is going to take care of itself. Like, you guys will see this season, like he's going to be that guy. So other than that, he's been doing what he's been doing for a long time, and that won't stop.
Are you bigger than him?
Absolutely, yeah. Wait.
What are you like? What are you true? I know people say you're 6'7". Are you at like what 6'6.5"? What are you really?
I will always go with I'm 6'6". I'm around 240 right now, which is a perfect weight for me going into this season. But he's not. He's about 6'3", about 6'2"
Oh, really?
3. Yeah, he's up there. Maybe I'm a little high, but still, he's definitely for sure.
I love it. I'm excited to see that connection, man. I'm excited to see it. What newcomer on the team should we be looking at the most? So you give me a couple. Who surprised you a little bit?
Offensively, I'll give you two: Damari Austin and Camden Brown. Those two guys have put in tremendously amount of work this offseason to earn the playing time that they'll get. And those are the playmakers, some of the playmakers on our team. And not only them, but just everybody. Like, this year, like, ultimately, collectively as a group, we've all gotten so much better in each category of the offense. So, those two, stick out the most as far as newcomers, but everybody has gotten a lot better, and it's going to be a sight to see.
And the defense is going to be pretty good. I mean, should be top 25 nationally, and Derek Hall leading the way on defense. What's it been like battling it out during fall camp with a defense that's pretty talented?
Yeah, it's been it's been rough a couple of days, and then we've had games where we were giving them a run for their money, but it goes back and forth, and that lets me know how well we've grown as an offense, is that we're competing with a defense that's going to be, like you said, possibly top 20 in the country this year, and just to be able to go toe to toe with them guys lets us know where we stand, and lets us know that we can compete with anybody in the country as long as we execute. So battling them guys every day, it helps us a lot. But those guys are very, very good.
No doubt, no doubt. You guys, I mean, anytime you play in the SEC, but specifically, with your schedule this year, the schedule is not easy. I mean, you got a Penn State as a non-conference game, and and then obviously you go from there to play a bunch of SEC opponents. You got to go to Alabama, you got to go to Georgia, to Ole Miss. You got LSU at home. What's it like, now that you've been through it, like the rigors of the SEC schedule? Like, it's just a day in and day out. You're playing the best of the best. And then on top of it, to start off with Penn State as a non-conference isn't no walk in the park there either.
Right. Yeah. So we really like to take it one game at a time, one day at a time. And we got this saying that's starting to go around our building: win the next 4 hours and go 1-0. So, we like I said, we like to take it one day at a time. The week is the game schedule is the game schedule. We're going to play who we're going to play. We can't change that. So the only thing we can do is not get bored with the process, not getting bored watching film, not getting bored, taking baby steps and things like that. So as long as we do that and take care of our business on our end, I think we'll be perfectly fine.
No doubt. I if I had to bet on how you were going to answer that question, I knew you were going to say one game at a time. It's just a good old quarterback answer, man. I love it. No, it's true. You just got to stay focused. What how'd your family react when you told them you got the starting quarterback nod?
Yeah, my dad punched me in the chest and said, he said, "You haven't done anything. Let's go win a national championship." And so that right there let me know that step one was complete, and I have a lot more to accomplish other than the starting job. But like I said, step one was complete. Of course, my mom being a mom, she got teary-eyed and cried and held me and stuff like that. But my dad was quick to remind me, like, you got more work to do. Let's go. And this is not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to win an SEC championship, win a national championship, and go on to the league. So um, that was their reaction, but it was pretty cool. We were at breakfast at Broken Egg when it happened, so it was a pretty special moment.
That's awesome, man. Just getting to share that with the family is sweet. I mean, you just mentioned the next level. When NFL scouts watch this tape, what are you trying to show them? What are the things that you want them to see when they're evaluating you?
Just a true commander. I've done some research back this off season about just quarterback play and things like that. And I think the biggest thing, the quarterbacks that last the longest in the league, they know the playbook in and out. It's basically being a coach on the field. I think if you can get guys in the right positions at all times, and not only that, but being accurate with the football, then you're going to play a long time in the NFL. And so, when guys, cut on the tape, I want them to see just true leadership. Football, you're going to have ups and downs.
Yeah.
Like we've had ups and downs all fall camp. But the thing about it is, are you able to be, mellow when it's up and mellow when it's down? Are you able to stay in the middle? A lot of guys get too high and a lot of guys get too low. So the one thing about me that I challenge myself each and every day is to always stay in the middle. And I think I've done a great job with that this offseason of being able to control my emotions and control things like that. So when scouts cut on the tape, I think that's the first thing that'll pop out. And then, of course, my intangibles, the height, the weight, the size, and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
the arm strength, that'll all, tell itself. But I'm just all about proving, myself this season. And not only that, but continue to do what I can do to help this team win football games.
No, I love what you just said, man. I've heard some smart people talk about it, like the emotional consistency of not getting too high and not getting too low, because that's what young people do, young players do all the time. But it shows your maturity for sure. The one thing I want to ask you was because it's a debate on Twitter all the time. What's the toughest SEC environment you've played in?
Okay, that I've played.
Or that you've been in, like that you've been at in person. Like what's the toughest one?
Yeah, okay, that I've been in person. Um, I'll give you both. I'll give you the one that I played in that was the toughest was, well, 2020 when my freshman year, it was COVID year, so it wasn't really that loud.
Yeah.
Um, but 2020, I would have to say A&M was the loudest I've ever heard, just because they can use artificial noises with the
I
speakerphone.
got
So they
the
were, and
cowbell.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
blasting things on the speakers and stuff like that. But I would have to go LSU in Florida. I think it was either back in 19 or 18 where LSU played them in Death Valley. It was rocking. Like it was probably one of the craziest things that I've seen in a long time. So that would be my two answers for that.
That place is intense, man. That's not an easy place to play. What
Absolutely.
what you played for Ed Ordron and Brian Harsin now. Give me some similarities and differences between those two. Two pretty good, big personalities and head coaches.
Yeah.
What comes to mind?
Absolutely. Well, Coach O was more on the defensive side of the ball, so I really
Yeah.
didn't deal with it much. But just the accountability piece, and these are similarities. And I think a lot of head coaches have these similarities, but just the accountability piece that I was held to a high standard, at all times, whether I was the backup or the starter. It was just a different level of expectations for TJ Finley.
Hmm.
Because I came in and I was showing that I could be a leader and I could lead this team. I think the coaches always held me to a higher standard than other players because not only did I play quarterback, but I was a vocal leader and I led by example. So just that piece is kind of similar. And then of course the difference is Coach Harsin is more involved with the offense than Coach O was. So I deal with more of Coach Harsin than I did Coach O. So those are really the only similarities and differences that I see.
No, it makes sense. Yeah, it must be cool just having those two guys that you played for, especially Coach O. With his pedigree. It's cool kind of having that experience. What was that transfer process like for you? Was it how did that come about? I think the new wave obviously in college football is quarterbacks moving around. What was that what was that process like?
Yeah, it wasn't that tough of a process for me. I had a lot of schools reach out. Alabama reached out, Ohio State reached out. Schools like that reached out after I got in the portal. But what really caught my eye with Coach Harsin was just his fire and desire
Mhm.
to win football games. And I, as soon as we first met via Zoom, because like I said, it was still COVID. We met, and I think maybe the second time that we met, I told him that I wanted to commit to him, and I just believed in his vision. I think a lot of players, and that's why they came back this year. A lot of players just believe in his vision, and he has a way of getting to you, just personally, and I think that helps, especially with recruiting.
Yeah.
He knows how to recruit, and he's genuine in what he says, and what he says is definitely going to come to pass one day. So it really wasn't that hard of a decision for me. I kind of made that decision quick and kind of strung it out, just to see if I was making the right decision and stuff like that. So it wasn't that, tough for me.
No, I'm glad you got the chance to transfer, man. Now we're going to see you blossom at Auburn. But a couple more things, and then we'll wrap it up. I appreciate the time during a game week, man. Um, the last three games of last season, you played good football. Obviously, you guys lost three in a row, but the Alabama game was tight. One of Alabama's tightest games all year. What did those last three games do for you from a confidence standpoint? And you put up 200 some yards against Houston. What did it do for you from a confidence standpoint?
Yeah, I was in a rough spot last year. Around that time, um, I was very like, well, I'm gonna just say this. I watch a lot of Tom Brady and I watch a lot of Tampa Bay just because I modelize my game after him,
Hmm.
um, and how he approaches his game. I've actually read a couple of his books. Just picking his brain 24/7. Even though I'm not able to ask him physical questions, I'm able to get some of my questions answered by simply reading some of his books and things like that. So, um, you know, I just wasn't mentally there last year, and I think a lot of guys could for sure see that I wasn't playing to the best of my ability. I was missing some throws and missing some reads and stuff like that. But I had a lot of stuff going on outside of football last year that a lot of guys don't know about that I'm ready to open up about this year, and I'm planning on doing that, soon. So it was just, that for me, simply I wasn't ready,
Yeah.
and I uh, a testament to that is like I said, I watched podcast that John Samuel Shanker got on yesterday, and he said something about my maturity, and I think that right there, shows you that I was in a total different headspace than I was this year, or that I am this year, last year. So it was definitely a learning lesson for me. That I have to be ready at all times for anything to happen. But like I said, I wasn't I wasn't nearly as mentally ready as I was last year. Um, so like I said, it was a learning experience for sure, but that won't happen again.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. No, sometimes it takes going through ups and downs to come out of it. Last question, man, and this is more of a personal one. Like, what's your why? What's the reason you do what you do, man? What's the reason that you want to be great? That you want to be standing on that stage as the national champion and playing in the NFL.
Yeah, so I'm big in faith. I'm big with my walk with God, and I think He's put it. He's predestined all this to happen. For a reason. But my why is really just to reach the younger generation. I
Mm-hmm.
think, especially with my social media platform, I'm big on social media. I'm really relatable to the younger generation, and I adapt to different situations very, very quickly. But just to be able to reach younger guys and really teach them the way and show them the way, And then not only that, but I just want to be great, man. Like, who doesn't want to be great? Like, who doesn't want to be known
Yeah.
and known for doing something spectacular and things like that. So I think, I could stop playing football right now and be financially stable. You know, my parents are. My mom is a doctor; she owns her own business, and my dad is an entrepreneur and owns multiple businesses down in Louisiana. So it's not really about the money for me. It's really I just love playing football. I love the game. I love studying. I love being able to watch film and dissect the defense and things like that. So just simply those things right there, just makes me the happiest person ever. And if football is ever taken away from me, I don't know what I'd be doing. But those are my why, and I really want my kids to learn, by example. Like, okay, yeah, your dad did it, but now you have to go do it. Now you have to, make your own way and things like that. So that's really my why. I really want to impact others, and even though I'm not in the NFL yet, I've already impacted a lot of guys, simply by just doing what I do each and every day. So that'll be one of the main reasons why I play football.
I love it, man. Well, listen, bro, I'm happy for you. It's been fun following you, these last couple of years, but I'm fired up to see you take that offense. You got a fan in me, and we'll have to do this again sometime, man. I'll be hitting you up during the season to give us a little mid season check in, man. But I'm excited. I really appreciate you taking the time during game week, man. I know it's a busy time for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation with TJ Finley. Again, the first interview he's done since being named the starting quarterback at Auburn. Huge 2022 season coming up for him. I'm fired up to see it. We're gonna be ripping this podcast out consistently, multiple episodes a week with my breakdown, interviews, talking college football, a bunch of really cool content. So stay on the lookout for it. And make sure to like, subscribe, rate, share, whatever you're listening on or watching on. Make sure to show some support. It's because of all you supporters and all you fans that we're able to make this show happen and make all my content happen. So appreciate all the support. Appreciate TJ Finley. Appreciate Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you guys support them. Download the Underdog Fantasy app. Go to underdogfantasy.com. Use my code AdamB. Talk to you guys next time.